This conference will now be recorded.
Assessment cycle. Let's talk about assessment cycle today. The last session we talked about distribution cycle, wherein we were settling the cost from one cost center to the other cost center using primary cost elements, wherein you were able to see the detailed cost breakup in the receiver cost centers. Today we will be checking the assessment cycle, wherein we will be settling the cost from sender cost center to the receiver cost center based on secondary cost element. When you settle the cost using the secondary cost element, you will not be able to see the detailed cost breakup in the receiver cost center. Instead of checking or instead of seeing the detailed cost breakup, we will see a consolidated cost which is allotted to the receiver cost center using secondary cost element. We will be taking the same example that we took yesterday for distribution cycle so that it is easy for us to understand and then compare what was happening with distribution cycle for the same scenario, what is happening with the assessment cycle. If we go back to the requirement, we assumed transportation cost center to be distributed to the below cost centers at the respective percentage. We will be taking the same cost centers. We will be taking the same allocation percentages to the same receiver cost centers. But we will change the master data for the assessment cycle. We will put a new master record to segregate. These are the cost centers related to distribution cycle, and the new cost centers will belong to assessment cycle. Let's create the complete new master data to ensure that the requirement is fulfilled. Let me take all this information and I'll copy this here. Quotes I will remove. If distribution is KSV1, assessment will be KSU1. Cost center reports will remain same. And GL numbers also we need to change. Now in the configuration prerequisites, what we require here is you need cost center master as usual, the way we created for distribution. We will have to create cost center for assessment also. You need GL account, you need cost elements, cost center group, cost element group is also needed. Along with all this, there will be additional cost element, which is your assessment cost element. This assessment cost element is created using FS00. Okay, I'll put assessment cost element only. Now the requirement is already clear, right? We understood what we wanted to do, from where you need to settle the cost, how much you are settling the cost, and at what rate you are settling the cost. Any questions on the requirement that we did yesterday? Is that clear, our business requirement? Yes, no?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now let us create the cost center masters. To create the cost center master, the same thing. Yesterday, whatever we created, in the similar way, we will be creating. For that, let me go to KS01. In KS01, let me change controlling area from nest to DEGR. We created this cost center yesterday, wherein we assumed DC representing a distribution cycle. Yesterday, since we were talking about a distribution cycle, we've put a prerequisite or the initial two digits as a DC representing a distribution cycle. Now we are talking about assessment cycle. I'll put AC. Clear? I'll put AC representing assessment cycle, and I am going to create this from 1st January 2023. This one I will copy from the previous cost center. Here I'll put, instead of DC, I'll put AC, assessment cycle. Here also assessment cycle. Any doubt on this master creation? No change in the cost center master creation. The way you create the normal cost center, here also you will be creating in the similar approach. Proceed to save this. And I'll copy this code. I'll put it under this. This is the sender cost center that we've created. Now let us create the receiver cost centers. For receiver cost centers, let us put the code whatever we used yesterday. I'll just put AC here. AC I'm going to copy from DC. I'm just going to replace AC with DC. Rest and all I'm keeping as it is. Clear? Copy this, save it. Assessment cycle receiver cost center 1 is saved. Next, let us create cost center number 2. I'll just put number 2 here, and I'll copy this from distribution cycle number 2. Is this clear on what basis I am copying the cost centers? Any confusion? Because we are proceeding with the same requirement, except the assessment distribution, we have the same requirement. So I am just replacing assessment distribution namings alone. So that what I am doing, number 2 I am copying from number 2. Distribution 2 is being copied to create assessment 2. Click on enter. The department, everything is same. I am just replacing assessment in the beginning. Assessment cycle receiver 2. Click on save. Next 3 I'll create with 3. Enter. I am going to replace distribution cycle with assessment cycle. So I can replace AC1. Save. Next 4 I'll be creating with the reference to distribution cycle 4. Same logic. DC will be replaced by AC. Save it.
Here we are assigning the same hierarchy logistics to all the cost centers. So in the
That is
real
fine.
time, what should be the naming convention for this? With which name we create the hierarchy?
Hierarchy depending on the cost center. If this is HR department, from here you will be selecting HR related hierarchy.
Okay. Got it, sir.
Clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are not focusing much on master data because to run the cycle we need master record. That is why we are quickly creating the master. Since we already know how to create a cost center, the same logic is used. AC1, 5 I've created. Now let me create cost center number 6. This also will be copied from 6. Why I am copying, on what basis I am copying, you understood, right? I am not just like that copying. I am copying based on a logic. Got that logic, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So that I can change only the one letter, DC to AC. If I copy everything from same, I need to change all the descriptions, which I am avoiding. 7. Here also from 7. DC I'll replace to AC. Here also AC. Assessment 1, save it. We had last one 8. Here also I'll put this as 8. Click on master data. DC will be replaced by AC. Save it. I'll update the code here. Just drag until 8. Clear? Now we have created the sender cost center. We have also created the receiver cost center. Next one, we will create the GL master records, at the same time cost elements. For creating GL master and then the cost element, what I will do, I will be creating the same logic which we have used for cost center creation. Let's go to FS00. We created GL accounts under miscellaneous yesterday. Let's pick miscellaneous expenses. From this, I'll be copying a GL account from this. Here I have used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll be copying the same sequence. Maybe I'll be using 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'll copy this. Zero 1, I'll make it as 11. Clear? I'm just going to replace DC with AC. Assessment cycle, driver salary. Clear on what basis I am copying the GL account? So that I don't have to change much of the data. Next one, fuel expenses, I'll copy from 02 to 12. Click on copy. I want to make this GL number 12. Same thing, I am going to replace the name alone from DC to AC. From here, remove the DC, put AC, click on save. Next one, let us select GL account number 3. Copy this.
So one doubt on the GL account type, it's primary cost or it should be secondary cost?
Primary cost. These are all the sender related information that we are creating.
Okay.
Okay, so 13 also I'll make it as assessment cycle AC, and then I am proceeding to save this. Next one, 14 insurance. Copy this, make 04 as 14. Change the description from DC to AC, distribution cycle to assessment cycle. Save this.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in real time also for assessment cycle to need separate create separate GL account and distribution cycle need to create a separate GL account.
No. It will be the same GL account, but based on the cost center, you will be able to segregate. When you are posting the amount in the cost center, GL account and cost center will give the key combination. Even when you do the settlement, you will be telling the system, select, let's say, insurance cost from X cost center, select the insurance cost from Y cost center. GL account, in short, cost element, cost center combination is unique. Here I am creating a new GL account just to make sure you will see only those account balances so that there is no point of confusion. Once we
Okay,
get
sir.
the logic, we will create exactly the same real-time scenario, the same GL account with the different cost centers. We will do it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. 5, I'll make it as 15. I'll change the description to AC, assessment cycle. Let us save this. Next, last one, 6, we will make it as 16. Copy 6, make it 16. Change the GL description from DC to AC. Save it. Lastly, we need one more GL account. In short, one more cost element is required to perform assessment cycle, which is nothing but assessment cost element. This assessment cost element is a secondary GL account. This assessment is a secondary GL account. Let us verify the account group for secondary cost and the number range we are using for it. Did we create any account group for secondary already? This is 1, 4. Let me open the account groups. OBD4 for checking the account groups. Let's go to position our chart of account DEGR. In this, if we create anything for secondary cost, we have not created, is it? Takeover account, this. Okay, let me add one more account group called secondary cost element. The still 4 series we are used. Let me copy this. I'll make secondary cost element, let's say 5100. Secondary cost. I'll make it 510 and this will be 51 all lines. I'll make all 51 series. Click on save this. Enter. Let's come back. Now let us create the GL account. We are using 5 series. Let me select 51 followed by 6 zeros to make it 8 digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Enter. GL account type I will be selecting as secondary cost. Account group I will be selecting 5 series. Do we have 5 series here? It is not reflecting because we have not refreshed this screen. Let me reopen this GL master FS00. Let me check if 5100 is reflecting now. 5100 is now reflecting. You can see 5100 secondary cost here. Right now, let me click on create GL account. 51 all zeros. Enter. GL account type will be secondary cost. Account group will be 5100 secondary cost. I'll put assessment cost. Here also I'll put assessment cost. Next one, let us go to control data. In control data, cost element category, let's open the drop down. In cost element category, if you check for the assessment related, you have a dedicated cost element category called 42, which is your assessment. This you have to remember. For any assessment related cost element, you will be selecting the cost element group as 42. This 42 is something that you will be questioned in your interview. Which cost element category you will be using for assessment cost element? Your answer should be 42. Select 42 and click on create bank interest G001 as usual. Proceed to save. Okay, secondary cost element 51 all zeros is also created. Copy this. Here I'll put assessment cost. This is the GL account. 51 all zeros. For the regular GL accounts, whatever the GL number that we created, that also let us put here. That was created under miscellaneous. Let's go to FS00. If I select miscellaneous here and account numbers starting from 11 until 16, click on display. Copy the GL number 11. Put this GL number here from 11. Let's copy until 16. When you're working in a project also, in the similar way, you have to plot everything in your Excel sheet. When you're doing a configuration, make sure you put everything in the Excel sheet so that when you prepare the documentation, once your config testing is completed, you have to prepare configuration document, test document, user manual. For that, all these things, whatever you're plotting on the Excel sheet will be very helpful. You don't have to again go to SAP, take screenshots, find out which GL account number. You need to ensure all the relevant information that is needed for you to run the cycle is plotted or is listed down on your Excel sheet. This is only for your understanding, for your reference alone. Based on this, you will have to prepare different documentation and the testing scripts. Okay, after this, let me put a box for this. Assessment cost element also we have created. Now we are good with master data. We created cost centers, sender and receiver. We created GL accounts. We created cost elements. We have also created assessment cost element, which is a secondary cost. Now in this, cost center master is ready. GL master is ready. Cost elements are ready. Assessment cost element is also ready. Now cost center group, cost element group we need to create. Yesterday we have created two cost center groups to one cost element group. Similarly, we will be creating a cost center group and cost element group for assessment cycle also. To create cost center group, let us go to the screen KSH1. I'll go to SAP. Let me put KSH1 here. Enter. So cost center group, yesterday what we have taken, we have used like this. DC we represented distribution cycle, SEN we assumed sender, CE we assumed cost element. So this one let us use. DC is distribution cycle, SEN is sender, CC1 is your cost center 1. Here I am going to replace DC with AC. Correct? Understood why we are creating like this the naming convention? You can create with any of your naming convention of your choice, but make sure you are clear, you have clarity why you are creating that naming convention. That is very important. Enter. Once you are inside the screen, make sure you put the description. Assessment cycle, sender cost centers. Assessment cycle, sender cost centers is the description that I am giving. And let me select this group and then click on insert cost center. In this, let me put the sender cost center code, which is this. Copy the sender cost center, place this here, press enter, and proceed to save this. Now sender cost center group has been created for assessment cycle. Let us create the receiver cost center group, for which SEN will be replaced by REC. Assessment cycle receiver cost center 1. Enter. Here assessment cycle receiver cost centers. Assessment cycle receiver cost centers. Next thing, select this group, click on insert cost center. Select the group and click on insert cost center. Next, go to your Excel sheet. Copy the cost centers that we have created for this. We have created a range in the sequential order. I am going to select the first code, which is ending with 1. Go to SAP, put the first code here, and then in the range you put the last code, which is 8. Since this is created in sequence, if these are created individually, you have to create individually. You need to copy paste one by one. Click on save. Now your group for the assessment cycle receiver cost center is also created. Let's go back. Next, cost element group is what we need to create for the receivers and for the senders. Receiver, we don't need the cost element group. For sender, we need the cost element group. For cost element group, KAH1 is the transaction. Let's go to KAH1. In KAH1, yesterday, whatever the group we created, I'll create the same. Yesterday we created distribution cycle, sender cost center 1. Now I'll be creating assessment cycle, sender cost element 1. Enter. I'll give the description as assessment cycle, sender cost elements. Assessment cycle, sender cost element. Click on the group and then select insert cost element. Go to the GL account list. Select the first GL account we have created in sequence from 1 until 17. So I'll put first number ending with 1, last number ending with 7. You got these cost elements which are auto detected based on the range that you have given. Proceed to save this. Now your assessment cycle sender cost element group is also created. With this, we are fine with, or we are done with all the master records that are needed, including cost center, cost element, cost center group, cost element group. Now let us proceed to perform the configuration. Before we perform the configuration, let's make sure we post the entries. Okay. So what sequence we followed yesterday? So we did configuration after doing the master record. Here also let us follow the same sequence. KSU1 will be the transaction code for creating the assessment cycle. Let's open SAP. Transaction code KSU1. Enter. Here controlling area is yours. Cycle, yesterday I put DC all zeros 1. Here I am going to put AC all zeros 1. Assessment cycle 001. Start date is always your fiscal year beginning date. Hit enter. On this, make sure first thing that you will do is update the end date as 9999. By default, it will take current year end date. You need to ensure you will put that as last year, which is 9999. Text, you can put transportation cost AC, assessment cycle. Same options, iterative and object currency. First, save this assessment cycle. When you save the assessment cycle, you are getting the config. Save in the respective transport request. Next one, let us click on attach segment. Click on attach segment. Currently we are proceeding with one segment. I'll put segment name also same, AC001. This also I'll put the same description, assessment cycle for transportation cost. Now for this, system is asking assessment cost element first. Yesterday when we created a distribution cycle, sender values and receiver tracing factor was commonly there, but here you have another heading called assessment cost element. Either you can work based on the assessment cost element or you can work based on the allocation structure. Allocation structure we will be understanding when we are on the internal order topic. At that time you will understand more about allocation structures. Currently we are proceeding with assessment cost element. Assessment cost element, whatever we created, let us put it here. 51 all zeros. Copy this secondary cost element for assessment cost element. I'll put this here. Enter. Right, this is your assessment cost. The remaining values will remain as usual. You want to settle the posted amount, 100% you want to post from the original actual posting. So we are selecting actual value origin. Receiver tracing factor you want to settle based on fixed percentage. Our requirement is to settle based on fixed percentage. Pick this fixed percentage. After that, let us go to sender receiver. In this, the same thing that you see yesterday, whatever you saw for distribution cycle, there is no change in this. Cost center, we will not be using individual values. We will be using cost center group. Cost center group we have created AC, this one, assessment cycle. Assessment cycle, sender cost center 1. Cost element group also we have created AC, sender cost element 1. Enter. Okay, in the receiver you have created receiver cost center also a group. For this, let me select assessment cycle receiver cost center 1. Clear? Any doubts on this? Is it the same thing that we did yesterday or anything new in this screen? Apart from assessment cost element, any change so far?
Same, sir.
Right.
Sir, I
Now
have a
let me
small
go to,
query.
yes,
Sir, at the top under the sender, we have cost element for range and group as well in the same screen.
correct, right.
Why don't we have cost element for receiver?
Because receiver is not based on the cost element, receiver is based on the cost center. Whatever the cost you have in the sender, the same cost by default is taken to the receiver. Because you're not posting the
Yes,
original
sir.
entry, right? The original entry is already posted in a cost element. Wherever the original entry is posted, this cost will be taken into your receiver cost center. If you want to use the same sender cost center cost element as the receiver cost element, you will be using distribution cycle. If you want sender cost element to be clubbed and then taken into receiver cost center as one single amount, you will be using assessment cycle based on assessment cost element, which is secondary cost element. Here you have flexible option. Option number one, use same cost element as sender cost element, in which you will be using distribution cycle. Option number two, you do not want the original cost element, which means sender cost element you do not want to post in the receiver cost center. In that case, you will be posting based on the assessment cost element, which is what we are doing currently. That is why you don't find cost element on the receiver side. On the receiver side, only the receiver cost object is mentioned.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next one, sender values. In sender value, it is the same thing. 100% of your actual value origin. Last one, receiver tracing factor. Receiver tracing factor is taking the cost centers based on the cost center group that we have already defined. In this, I am going to maintain the same percentages. 10, 5, 28. I'll put 10, 5, 20, 8, 13, 30, 10, 4. Thirteen, 30, 10, and then 4. Now it has become 100%. You need to ensure this total is 100%. Click on save. This is saved. Let's come back to the overview screen. These are the segments that you can see on single screen. Click on close this. Now let's go back one level, and here you can check this, and finally you can save it. Okay, assessment cycle AC001 has been created. Let's go back. Now we need to make sure we create the test data. To create the test data, you need to pass one financial JV, making sure that the respective GL account is debited to the sender cost center for the same amount, 52,500, whatever we have posted. For that, let me go to transaction code FB50. I'll type FB50 here, enter. I'll take today's date and I'll put assessment cycle GL accounts. Let me copy the GL accounts from here. Copy this. I'll put the GL accounts here. All the GL accounts are going to be debited. So in short, I'll put debit everywhere. Credit, I'll be selecting any one bank related GL account. 12 all zeros 2 and amount. Somewhere we had amount. I'll take the amount without decimals. Copy the amounts. Come to SAP. Place the amount here from the first GL account onwards. Paste. And on the, I think one is not copied. 6. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Did I create one GL account access? One sec. Okay, I copied from here. I should have copied from here. Okay, till 16 only. I copied one GL account access in the range. Here I'll remove this GL account. I'll put this here. Copy, I'll put this here. Remove this blank. I'm going to put star here. Cost center we have to put. Cost center that we were using here is assessment cycle sender. What is that cost center? This is your assessment cycle sender cost center. Copy the assessment cycle sender cost center. Come to SAP. Paste this for all your expense accounts. And then press enter. Star for the credit amount. I should use this credit and I'll put star. 52,500 debit side, 52,500 on the credit side. This cost is being assigned to the assessment sender cost center. Clear this entry? Any doubt on this JV that we are posting now for the testing purpose?
No, sir.
Alright. Let me click on post this. Now this is giving an error messages. Let us go to simulate general ledger. These kind of error messages you will be able to understand only when you perform simulate general ledger. On the simulate general ledger option, you will find this HDFC check outgoing account is not receiving the profit center. Let us verify what is the problem. Click on expert mode. This is telling currency configuration of controlling area DEGR is inconsistent. Let's close this and let us verify what is the group currency as of now. To check the group currency, let's go to SCC4 client level. Our group currency was dollar. Currently somebody updated this to SAR. That is the reason system is unable to update your group currency in the controlling side. According to controlling area, your group currency is dollar. But on the current client level setting, group currency has been updated to SAR. Let us amend this from SAR to dollar. Come here, remove SAR and put dollar. Click on save. Data was saved. Let's go back. Now let me go to the JV screen. I'll go back. Let me do this simulation once again first, normal simulation, and then I'll perform simulate general ledger. Enter. Go to document, simulate general ledger. This time it is splitting properly. Let's go to expert mode. There are no error messages. Close this and let us proceed to post the entry. Go back and then click on post. Document has been posted. Once the entry is posted, we need to ensure the account balances we are able to verify on the sender cost centers first. To verify the cost center balances, KSB1 in the transaction code. Open KSB1N. In KSB1N, make sure you put only the sender cost center. Make sure you put only the sender cost center. First you update your controlling area DEGR. Next, sender cost center, AC assessment cycle, sender cost center 1. Is this CC or CC1? ACSENCC. ACSENCC, enter, and then run for current month. Because we have posted the amount in the current month, you need to ensure posting date, the range is always the current month. In short, the month in which you have initiated the posting. You are able to see the amount of 52,500. Currently, it is showing only 6 line items. Currently, you are able to see only 6 line items. Let us verify how this 6 line items will get converted once the settlement has been executed. Yesterday in the distribution, same thing happened. When you initially post the entry, there are 6 line items. Once the settlement is executed, this is 6 line items is multiplied with 8 cost centers. Debit credit, number of line items has drastically increased. Let us verify in this also. This is one report we executed. Another report we executed was ALR report, comparison of actual versus planned number. Let's open another screen. I think I need to check. My system is working slow. It's not there. S underscore ALR underscore 8701361. S underscore ALR underscore 8701361. In this, first we need to put our controlling area DEGR, year 2023, period number 6 to 6, because we are executing for period number 6. Cost center group we are not executing because in our sender you have only one cost center. Input your sender cost center here. Assessment cycle SENCC, sender cost center, run the report. Make sure you are able to see the total value of 52,500 here. Debit side, you can check, amount is showing us 52,500. Over under absorption is currently 52,500. After performing the settlement, we need to get credit balance of the same amount. Over under absorption must be 0. Now let us go to the settlement screen. KSU5. If I go to KSU5, here we are able to see execute actual assessment. Give period number 6 to period number 6, year 2023. In the cycle, just click on the drop down. Your cycle will get auto picked up. AC001. Let's click on the list selection. Here we need to select sender receiver and then journal so that you will be able to see the sender receiver values. We did not get this yesterday because we did not enable these two options. Click on continue. We need to ensure the execution is performed on the test run with a detailed list in the beginning. Click on execute. When you click on the execute button, now we are able to see the sender receiver option. This we were not getting yesterday because of the reason we did not enable sender receiver on the list options. Now you have one sender, which is correct. You have 8 receivers. You have one sender, you have 8 receivers. Now if I click on sender, I am able to see sender is the assessment cost element 51 all zeros, correct? Amount you are able to see here is 656.25, which is appearing in dollars. Let's go back. Similarly, let us select the receiver. On the receiver, you are able to see the amount in dollar because by default this is displaying the amounts in the controlling area currency. Let us check if we have the option to change the layout here. Let's go to layout on the top, click on current. If you click on current, here you have object currency. I think on every drop down option my system is getting stuck. Not sure why. Where is this? Here it is, not this one. Okay. Just hold on. I think I'll have to avoid opening the drop downs going forward. Close. Just a minute. Let me close this. So we are on the settlement screen KSU5. Let me change controlling area to our controlling area DEGR, settlement period 6, year 2023, cycle will be this. Now here also we are getting a message like we got yesterday, RKIU it is asking. For maintaining this RKIU, what we did yesterday, where did we go for the assignment of number ranges? We went into KA-NK transaction code. Same thing here also, let's open KA-NK transaction in the new screen. On your KA-NK screen, input your controlling area, click on change groups. Here the error message that we are getting is (2023). This is RKIU. Control F, find RKIU here. This is your actual overhead assessment. Select this actual overhead assessment. Click on assign element to group. This is your actual settlement. Put this under your actual settlement. Select this actual settlement, assign, click on save. Now the number range has been added. Let's go back to the assessment cycle screen. Press enter. The number range is now updated. List selection, make sure sender receiver is there, and you can click on save so that next time onwards these will be defaulted. Enter. Okay, you get the additional icons on the screen when you click on execute button. This is your settlement result. Click on the cycle, click on the segments on the top. On this segment you have one sender, one receiver. This is your assessment cost element through which the settlement is happening. Select the sender. First you need to select the segment. From this segment pick the sender list. This is the sender list. This is your sender cost center. This is your sender cost element. If you see, even in sender cost element, you are not able to see the original cost element. From sender cost center also, the data is being taken via secondary cost element. In distribution cycle, from the sender cost element, data is taken out using primary cost element. In short, the original cost element. Now the amount is 100%. Let me try one more time, changing this. To change the layout, go to settings on the top in case if you don't find the layout option here. Okay, go to settings, layout, current. I will simply move everything here, left side. I'll click on copy. Now you can see the object currency 52,500. Right, 52,500 is the cost that we posted. You see this amount is being credited to your sender. Initially this 52,500 was debited to our sender. Let me open that cost center reports. ALR report, controlling area DEGR, period number 6 to 6, cost center is receiver, assessment cycle receiver cost center. We have a debit of 52,500 in the sender cost center currently. With the assessment cycle execution, system is showing this sender cost center will be credited with 52,500, not with this cost elements, but using this cost element. Phi 1 all zeros cost element will be used for crediting your cost center. Let's go back from the sender and let me select the segment, click on receiver now. On the receiver side also it is the same. Currently you are able to see the data on the controlling area currency. To switch to or to add your object currency, go to settings on the top. Wherever if you don't find the layout icons here, always go to settings on any screen, whether it is FI screen or CO screen. From here you will find an option called layout. From here select the current layout which is being displayed on the screen. Enter. I am going to move object currency to the right hand side. Copy. Here it is moving to the respective receiver cost center, only one line. Yesterday we have seen each cost center is being debited with multiple lines based on the number of cost centers that you have, based on the number of cost elements. For each cost center there is a separate debit in your receiver cost center, but in this case even though you have multiple cost centers sitting on the sender side, but on the receiver side you are able to see single consolidated amount using secondary cost element phi 1 all zeros. 5250 will be debited to the receiver cost center 1. If you go to your Excel sheet, if you go to our working yesterday, the receiver cost center 1 was receiving 5250 as per assessment. Cost center 1 was receiving 5250. According to our assessment cycle also, first cost center is receiving 5250, next one is 2625, 10,000, 4200, etc. Here also 2625, 10,500, 4200. Are the numbers exactly matching?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? The number, calculation, everything is exactly same except the cost breakup. If you see here, yesterday in the distribution cycle, we got the cost breakup like this for 5250. But now when we are trying to execute, you are unable to get the cost breakup. The total amount is clubbed under secondary cost element called assessment cost element for 5250. This is what it is doing here. Same cost element, the total amount 5250 will be settled. Let me come back. Test run is fine. We are able to understand what calculations system has done, whether the system calculated figures are right or wrong. Now, are the system calculations correct on the test run?
Yes, sir.
If we are convinced with the system calculations are correct, remove the test run, click on execute. Let us verify if the document will get posted or it will throw any error messages. So it has given update run, document number has been generated, processing completed without errors. Now this document journal, document number you are able to see because of this. Here in the list selection, think again this is a drop down. This is taking a little time. I need to do something for it. Okay, in short, before it gets loaded, when we click on list selection, we got two options, sender, receiver and journal. You noticed before we made that as tick mark and then we clicked on save.
Yes, sir.
Because of that journal, on the update run, you are able to see the document number that system has posted. Okay, now I'll close this because this is taking a little time, and let me go to the cost center report. I hope this is working. Okay, cost center report, currently it is showing 52,500. After performing the actual settlement, if I run the cost center report for sender cost center, the amount should become 0. Right, our expectation is that amount should become 0, which means over and under absorption will be 0. Is your over under absorption 0 currently?
Yes, sir.
0, sir.
Right, now if you see the credit is posted with a single line item. Credit is posted with single line item with secondary cost element. Yesterday credit was posted with primary cost element. The same number of debits are updated as credit in distribution cycle. Correct? Let me open distribution cycle sender values. DAGR period number 626 and execute. Okay, if you see the debit credit on the left and right hand side screen, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh. Now right hand side, whatever you are able to see is the output of distribution cycle sender cost center report. You had debit with the same cost element. After doing the settlement, credit with the same cost element. Same driver salary is debited, same driver salary is credited. Similarly, for every line item, you had the corresponding credit in distribution cycle. And on the left hand side, where you can see the assessment cycle settlement, in the sender cost, you have respective debit to the sender cost center, but the credit is not into the same GL account. Credit is posted to the secondary cost element.
Yes, sir.
Credit is posted to the secondary cost element. Now let us verify the balance in the receiver cost center. Let me go back. Let us check what happened in the receiver cost center. For receiver, we have multiple cost center. As a result, we created for receiver cost center group is created. Let me put cost center group for the receivers. Assessment cycle receiver cost center 1 execute. This is the receiver cost center. Let me select first cost center. Let me pick the first cost center. In the first cost center, you can see 5,250. This 5,250 is appearing with GL account 51 all zeros assessment cost. Now, if you are receiving this in your cost center as a debit of 5,250, do you know why 5,250 is charged? Do you have the detailed breakup of this cost or you do not have?
So we don't
We
have.
don't have, sir.
You don't have, sir.
We don't have the detailed breakup of the cost because you have done assessment cycle. In the assessment cycle, detailed cost breakup is not visible. You can only see the cost consolidated cost in the secondary cost element. Similarly for all this. Now on the other side, let me display the receiver distribution cycle cost center values. No, this is not. This is sender. Distribution cycle receiver. If I execute this, if I take the first cost center 5250, if I take first cost center here also, now if you compare these both the screens, on both the screens you can see the settlement amount received in the cost center 1, in the receiver cost center is the same amount 5250, on the assessment 5250, and on the distribution also 5250, but there is a difference in the way you are able to see the cost.
Yes, sir.
If you want to see the detailed cost breakup, you have to
Distribution.
opt for distribution cycle.
Distribution
If you
cycle.
do not want the detailed breakup of the cost, you can choose assessment cycle. But either this or that, there is no way, there is no change in the cost allocation. Your cost will be completely credited to the sender. The cost will be completely debited to the receiver. Debit credit, there is no change, but the way you are able to see the breakup is different. If you wanted the original cost breakup or you do not want the original cost breakup, accordingly you have to switch between assessment or distribution. Now yesterday for the distribution cycle, was there any accounting entry or not?
Accounting entry is there, sir.
There was, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday for distribution cycle there was a accounting entry. Now let us verify for the assessment cycle if there is any accounting entry or not. To check the accounting entries, let us go to FB03. I'll put /n FB03. If I go to FB03, let me click on document list. I'll put company code fiscal year 2023. Please be on mute if you're not talking. I'll take entry date as current date because the entry is posted today, and I want to see the entries posted with my ID because I posted with this user ID. Click on execute. If you check, is there any CO document type?
Oh, sir.
CO document type,
1 second.
settlement.
Yes, sir. Third entry.
Yes, sir.
Third entry.
Third entry is there. This is your one series. Let me double click on this. If I do a double click on this, the entry is posted in which cost element?
Secondary cost element.
This is posted only in the secondary cost element. Is debit and credit both are in secondary cost element or any primary cost element involved here?
Both are in secondary, sir.
Both are in secondary cost element. Are you going to consider secondary cost element in your financials, like in your TB P&L balance sheet? Are we going to consider secondary cost element or not?
No, sir.
No, sir. We don't consider it.
We do not consider secondary cost element in your financial report, which means according to this entry, even though there is an entry got posted in your accounting, in your financials, will this have any impact on your reporting or not?
No, sir.
Is there any impact on your reporting or there is no impact on your reporting?
No impact.
Yes, no?
No impact.
There is no impact. Okay. Now what I will do, let me open the GL reports. FAGLL03. Now observe carefully here what I am going to do. The screen is stuck. I want to open any one GL account that we have used for distribution cycle posting yesterday and one GL account report for the assessment cycle posting that we did today. For that, I want to look at FS00 first to verify the GL numbers. Let me go to FS00. We created GLs under miscellaneous cost. Under miscellaneous, let me take the first GL account, driver salary. Click on display. This is the GL number. I'll copy the GL number. Let me go to FAGLL03. I'll pass this account number in this company code. Let me execute. In this, how many entries system is displaying? 1 or 2?
Only one
One,
entry.
sir.
Only
One entry.
one entry. If I go back, what is the open item selection date I have selected? I have chosen here.
23rd June, sir.
According to this report, system is giving me balance as on 23rd June 2023. Correct? It is giving you the balance as on today. As on today, what is the balance it is giving you? Only one line item?
Yes, sir. Only one line item.
Not sure. Something is wrong with my laptop. Okay. You can see only one line item for 25,000. In this GL account, 25,000 is posted. But if I go back, the date is as on 23rd. But as on 23rd, which means as on today, we posted only one entry according to system, which is your original entry. You had one more posting called settlement. When settlement happens normally, settlement can happen on any day of the month or strictly on the last day of the month.
Last day of the month.
Last day of the month.
Settlement is strictly on the last day of the month. If you are talking about June settlement will strictly happen on 30th June 2023. Because when you perform the settlement, either assessment settlement or distribution settlement, you have no option to input the posting date. You have only option to input the period. Whenever you put the period, that particular period, last day will be taken as posting date. In this case, our period was 6. In period 6, last working day is 30th June. Here, either you have to select open item selection as on 30th June or posting date from June 1st to June 30. Either of the options you can select. Now let me select open items as on 30th June. If I select as on 30th June, how much it is showing? 25,000 again.
25 it's showing, sir.
It is showing 25,000 again. Now, according to us, is there any amount in the driver salary or it is already settled?
Is already settled.
According to us, amount is already settled.
Settled.
If amount is already settled, are we supposed to get amount in this GL account or it is supposed to be 0?
It's supposed to 0, sir.
Are you sure it is supposed to be 0 or it should have the amount?
0.
0, agree with me everyone or disagree with me? You are looking balance at cost center level or at GL level?
GL level.
Which
GL
report?
level, sir. GL level.
We are looking at the balance at GL level.
GL
But did you do
level.
the settlement at GL level or did you do the settlement at cost center level?
Cost center level, we will do in
Cost
settlements.
center level.
We did the settlement at cost center level. The balance should become zero at cost center level or at GL level.
So cost center
Cost
level.
center level.
At cost center level, amount should become zero. At GL level, amount should be still 25,000. Agree? It is just that you are changing the responsibility of this cost. Initially, the responsibility of this cost was with sender cost center. Later on, with the help of distribution cycle, you moved the responsibility from one cost center to the other cost center. But the cost is the same. Cost is 25,000. The person or the area which is responsible for this cost has been reclassified. Correct? From sender cost center to the receiver cost center, the cost has been moved, but the cost did not become zero. Am I correct? Expense is still there. So GL account balance will still show 25,000, but the responsibility of this 25,000 is moved from sender to receiver. Now in this kind of cases, confusion is quite common for everybody. What you need to do on your GL account balance layout, make sure first thing you have the amount total here. Let us focus on the local currency amount. What is the amount? Do we have total or not? We have total
We have
enabled,
total,
which is showing us 25,000.
25,000.
Now this is called as total or this is called as sum. Now to have the clear identification, you need to do a subtotal. What you need to do? You need to do a subtotal. Now the cost is now playing between the cost centers. Correct? You played with this amount between two cost centers. Am I correct? Sender, receiver.
Yes, sir.
Now select the cost center value here. If you select, the color of the cost center will get updated. You can see how it has become the moment I click on cost center. Correct? This represents the cost center field has been selected. Now go to this field called subtotal. Can you see the subtotal icon? Click on the
Yes, sir.
subtotal. Now come down. Click on subtotal. Come down. Collapse all these stars. At the complete yellow, collapse these stars. Now go top. Now go top. If you look at this one, this 25,000 at this cost center level, is there any balance or it is zero? Look at the cost center, look at the total of cost center.
0.
Look at this cost center, DC, sender, CC. What
DC,
is the
sir.
amount in local currency?
Local currency 0,
Zero.
sir.
Agree? It has become zero. But the total is still 25,000.
Yes, sir.
Total is still 25,000, but the amount is shifted from sender cost center to this 25,000 is now showing the responsibility in the different cost center. In the same GL account or in the different GL accounts?
GL account.
Same GL account, it is showing in the different cost center. Clear with this report? Any doubt on this report now? Okay, if there are no doubts, let me open the same GL account for the assessment cycle. FAGLL03. Now this will not be 01. This will be 11. I'll change the GL account to 11. I'll click on execute. Here also we posted a 25,000. We are supposed to get 25,000. Correct? This is your original entry 25,000 which will appear once we execute. Now you got the output. Is this 25,000? Driver salary, we paid it 25,000. Same scenario we took for both assessment and distribution. Now this report is also as on what date? As on current date. We should take the report as on what date to have the clear picture? As on current date or as on month end date?
Month and date.
Month and date.
You need to take as on month end date. Now whenever you are generating any report, make sure you are very careful with the dates. If you are not paying attention on the dates, your understanding will be wrong, the report values, everything will be wrong. This plays a very major role when you're in a project. When you're talking to your client, when your client is explaining any problem, if you wanted to make sure you get the problem, you provide a solution, these small basic points you have to pay very good attention. Execute. Even though I execute on the month end, is there any impact on my GL account?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Is there any impact? It is still
No,
showing
sir.
one line item, one cost center when I use assessment cycle. But when I use the distribution cycle, there is a impact on my
GL.
GL account. My original GL account is affected with my distribution cycle. Cost has been shuffled. Now on the assessment cycle, my original GL account is not shuffled. It is remaining as it is on the original cost center. The reflection, whatever happened from one cost center to the other cost center, is only lying in controlling module or CO document. Correct? It was appearing on the GL account called 51 all zeros. Now let me open one more screen. Even when you run this assessment cycle, even when you run the distribution cycle, first you try to understand the calculation part. Once the calculation part is clear, understand the cost center report, cost center line item report before settlement, after settlement, cost center comparison report between planned and actual value, in short ALR report, after settlement, before settlement. After that, pay attention on your GL reports. Now all these financial impacts will be questioned in your interview. How the financials will get affected with my distribution cycle, how your financials will get affected with your assessment cycle, what will be the impact on my P&L if I run distribution cycle, what will be the impact on my P&L if I run assessment cycle. Make sure you are able to answer these questions. Only then the other person feels you actually worked on assessment distribution cycle on a project. Otherwise, you will not be able to explain the financial impact of this in a project. In the real environment, if you execute these things, what exactly will be the impact on my financials? If it is affecting my P&L, then I might tell why my cost center is showing a different value or why my cost center is not showing value on my financials. So you need to understand what cycle you have executed. This cycle will have what kind of impact on your financial reporting. The GL account that we used for secondary is 51. Can we use GL line item report for secondary cost element or not? For cost element, can I use GL report or not? Will it work or it will not work
No, sir.
if I run the GL report for cost element? It should work or it should not work?
Should work, sir.
Yes.
It should work because this is created as part of GL account FS00. Now in this secondary cost element, is the amount showing anything or it has become zero?
0, sir.
It has become zero. Either it has to show in the finance or it has to show in the controlling. If it is appearing both sides, it is duplication. Correct?
Yes, sir.
If 25,000 is appearing on your original cost element, if 25,000 is appearing on your assessment cost element also, then there is a duplication. Agree? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So that is why when you use distribution cycle, the complete distribution happens based on the primary cost element. Plus minus happens on the same GL account, in short, same cost element. When you use assessment cycle, the correction or the plus minus happens one in the primary cost element, the other one in the secondary cost element, which means your original cost will remain as it is if you use assessment cycle. Your original cost will get disturbed if you use distribution cycle. Clear?
So one doubt on this clarification.
Yes.
So in assessment cycle, we are posting first in FB50 we are posting the expenses, which is primary cost, and then we are moving the values from cost center to cost center by using the secondary cost element 5001. So there is no
Correct.
impact on the exact the GL account, primary GL account. There will be
Right.
the same line. Okay. So in distribution also we are moving the cost centers values with the help of primary cost element both the sides. But final if we see the report means the the total cost element value will be remaining same, but the CC value will be 0, right? But the
Correct.
correct, right? So here in
Correct.
SAP we are moving the cost center to reclass, like reclass the values to other cost center. We are using the primary cost element and secondary cost element, but financially this will not affect in our FI document because CO is in the part in SAP, right? That's the
Right.
concept.
Right.
Okay. So, because usually in other ERP, we will be, if any reclass we are doing means, we will be having the combination of the same GL but different, that cost center will be different and the cost center will be different. So we will be doing reclass, right? So here that
Correct.
combination is not there, because of that controlling concept is that we are doing like this.
Right. Because cost center
Okay.
is not part of your finance module. Cost center is part of
Okay.
CO module. These two are two different objects in your SAP. So you need
Okay.
to create a link between and finance and controlling. That is why in the initial setup, you have set up the connection between FI and CO, controlling area and the ledger
Yeah.
as part of baseline
Yeah.
configuration, which we saw in the yesterday session. And also we have created the document type connection for which controlling business transaction type, which FI document to be used, like RKIV, RKIU, everything is
Yeah.
tagged
Yeah.
against CO document type, which we saw yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So from there, this is picking the CO document type. In
Okay.
case if you want any other
Okay.
document type, you can map any document type in the config. But normally anything which is originated, anything which is initiated from the controlling side is supposed to have CO to eliminate any confusion.
Okay,
Clear?
sir, clear. Yeah, yeah, clear.
Now
So
this
one more doubt.
impact,
So
yeah, this
whether
impact I
if
am going, one sec, this impact actually how this will reflect on your financials, I will show you again once we create financial statement version. In short, when we are generating the PNL, when we are generating the balance sheet, one of you remind me about the assessment distribution cycle. I will pull out these documents, I'll pull out this GL accounts, I will show you how these are affected in your PNL, in your balance sheet. In short, in your financials, how these things are reflected. If you consider how these are considered, if you are not considering how these are not considered. Because when you generate your financial reports from the FI side, in short, trial balance, PNL, balance sheet, you are generating these reports at profit center level.
Yes.
Am I correct? You are
Yes,
generating
yes.
your TB, PNL balance sheet at profit center level. If you are going to use your PNL at profit center level, according to distribution cycle, cost will go to the respective profit center. Correct? Cost center 1 is mapped to profit center 1. Cost center 2 may be mapped to profit center 2. Cost center 3 may be mapped to profit center 3. There may be different profit centers for each cost center. There may be same profit center for different cost centers. Both are possible or not?
Yes, sir.
In my
Possible.
distribution cycle, whatever the cost centers I am using as my receiver, there is no rule that all my receiver cost centers should have same profit center. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
There
Yes,
is
sir.
no
It can
rule
be
that
different
all my,
profit centers.
it can be different profit center also. When I know that I am going to generate my MIS, or in short, I am going to generate my profit and loss account based on profit center. If I use distribution cycle, in each of the profit center, I am able to see the right cost, correct? Because in the same GL account, cost has been allocated. In the sender cost center, it has become 0. In the respective receiver cost center, the amount is updated. Agree?
Sir.
According to this,
Yeah, yes.
the cost is showing correctly in the respective profit center also.
Yes.
Got my point? What I mean to say with respect to P&L?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, on the other side, if I go to this report, this report, even after executing the settlement, it is still showing the cost in which cost center? Let me open the assessment GL account. In this assessment GL account report, even after executing the settlement, cost is still showing in the common cost center. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, considering this, if I generate my MIS report, if I generate my profit and loss account for a particular month, do I get right cost in my P&L for a particular profit center, for a particular cost center, or no?
Yes, sir.
If I select profit center wise P&L, do I get right cost in my profit center or no? According to assessment cycle.
Yes, we'll get, sir.
We'll get it.
You will get it? Sure.
Yes. No, sir.
Is the cost split
Yes.
there? Do you find any cost
It's
split?
not.
This 25,000 is posted to the respective 8 cost centers, or it
No.
is not
No,
posted?
not split. Not split.
It did not split. It is showing in the same original cost center, which means the original profit center will show the amount. What about the 8 cost centers? In short, considering the 8 cost centers will have different profit centers. Is this amount split in your GL account, or it is split in the secondary GL account?
It is split in
Secondary
secondary
GA.
GL.
It is split in the secondary GL account.
Secondary.
According to our understanding, are we going to put secondary GL accounts in your P&L report, or we don't put?
We don't put, sir. We will not consider also.
Secondary GL accounts or secondary cost elements are not considered in your P&L account. When you know that secondary GL accounts are not considered in your P&L account, do you get a detailed cost breakup in each profit center according to assessment cycle, or you do not get?
We will
We
not
don't get
able to
this.
get, sir.
Right? You will not be able to get it, which means at each cost center level, in short, at each profit center level, you may not be able to look at the original cost. So this we will practically see. I'll show you practically on the P&L report once we configure financial statement version. Clear? Now all these points is what you have to monitor. All these points is what you have to pay attention at when you're practicing. It's not about configuring assessment cycle. It is not about configuring distribution cycle. It is not about configuration steps. There is something beyond this which you have to know as a FICO consultant. Let's say I am asking you in a project that have you worked on assessment cycle or distribution cycle? You told me yes, you worked on assessment distribution cycle. I asked you to explain me the assessment distribution cycle. You explained me the definitions, you explained me the configuration. But now I am talking about financial impact. How this will affect my financials, or how your assessment cycle will have an impact on the financials. how your distribution cycle will have an impact on the financials. Do you have any answer? If we tell that
No.
we know the distribution cycle, if we tell we know the assessment cycle, if you are able to tell all the configurations, case U1, V1, this is used with assessment cost element, in short secondary, the other one is used with primary cost element. But I ask a simple question, what is the financial impact with this? Do we have an answer to convince?
No.
No, sir.
If you are unable to answer these kind of questions, if you are unable to convince, whatever the explanation that you give with respect to definition configuration, will it make any impact in your interview or not? Will it create any impact in
Will
your
make
interview if you are unable to answer these kind of questions?
it will be impactful.
Right? You will not be
No,
able
sir.
to create an impact. Right? The other person will not be convinced because I know everybody will tell me the configuration. I know everybody will tell me the definition. I know everybody will tell me the difference. Because this is something that you can read out. This is something that you can look at the configs. But if you really worked on this, I want you to explain me something which actually happens, which actually creates an impact on a project in an organization. These things you will be able to explain only if you practically work on any particular object. Otherwise, you will be limited to definition, you will be limited to configuration. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So you have to go beyond these points. Beyond this level, even if you talk 10%, that will create a big impact. You don't need to talk something crazy. If you talk at least 10% beyond this level, beyond configuration, beyond the transaction, beyond the definition, try to talk 10% above that. See what will happen, see the reaction from the other side. Literally, you can take interviewer into your control, or you can convert your interview into conversation. If you tell that no, this will create an impact on the PNL like this, your interviewer will start asking you different questions on what you are talking. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Obviously.
If you tell these points, he will tell how PNL will have an impact with this. Instead of asking you about this topic for 1 or 2 minutes, he will start discussing with you on this topic for a couple of minutes. How this will have an impact on PNL? Then you will tell whether we are using secondary cost element, you are using primary cost element. This will have impact on your PNL. This will not have an impact on your PNL. Whatever you are going to tell, he is going to put counter questions to you. In short, you are converting your interview into an interaction. This is what you have to do for selected topics. Now you have to keep in your mind, your interview is time bound. Your interview is time based, correct?
Yes, sir. Half an hour, 45 minutes.
Maximum 30 minutes to 45
45.
minutes. And if you take few topics, whatever you are strong in, and you are able to talk like this, the other person does not think that, okay, I need to ask all the topics to decide whether you have knowledge or not. Remember, I will be asking you all the topics only if I know, or only if I feel you know only the basics, what is what. But the way you are asking, the way you are talking, the way you are explaining will make me not ask all the questions. I will decide based on the way you are answering, based on the way you are explaining it to me. I will stick to only limited topics. Maybe I'll ask 2-3 topics, because on each topic you are able to explain me in detail what is happening, how this is affecting, how this is creating impact on the financials. If you are talking these points, your interviewer will not ask you more questions on more topics. Getting my point? Because when you talk like this on any topic, you are going to spend more time, you are going to interact more, you are going to talk more. With this, the interviewer will have a positive opinion on you. He will be under an impression that you actually worked on these areas, you know better than the others. Because he would have seen, he would have interviewed different people for the same position, correct? Before you, or he will be interviewing after you different positions. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So what they will do, they have to select one or they have to select multiple. On what basis they are going to select? They are going to select based on the comparison. Let's say today I am taking 5 interviews. Today I am taking 5 interviews. It depends on in which company I am taking interview. Let's say I am taking interview in a small company where I know that we have 2 FICO requirements. I may be taking 5 interviews. Out of 5 interviews, I will be selecting or I will be shortlisting 2 candidates. If I know I'm selecting for a big company like Deloitte, Wipro and all, these are all pooled requirements. When I say pooled requirement, the requirement is quite common. You have lot of requirements coming up because many people coming and then going. You have many projects ongoing, you have many projects in pipeline. So what they will do, they will hire the candidates as and when they need at bulk level. At a time they recruit 100 FICO consultant, 20, 30, 50 FICO consultants. What I will do, whoever I feel that this candidate is better, I will shortlist. I will select. I don't know for which project you will be selected. I do not know for which project you will be allotted. I am selecting you. I am giving you the offer because you know SAP FICO. Remember, if you create impression in your interview, if you talk better than how others are talking in your interview, for sure you will get selected. That special treatment is always there for those who talk different than what others are talking. Keep this in your mind. If everybody is telling the definition, if everybody is telling the configuration, if everybody is telling XYZ, you are also telling the same thing. It is based on the lottery system. I don't know, depends on my mood. I might select you, I might select you also. If something comes in my mind, everybody is telling the same thing. Everybody is telling the config, everybody is telling the same definition. I might pick anyone, okay, everybody is like this. But the moment I come to a candidate like you, like who is explaining something different, who is talking a different financial aspects, different business impact and all, I might get impressed. I might feel something different. Okay, this guy is talking in a different way. I try to put cross questions to you because all these days, all my interviews that I'm taking, I've been coming across the people who are telling me the similar answers. Correct? This is quite common in any interview. Agree with me, those who attended interviews will understand, will connect to what I'm talking about.
Sir.
Right?
Yes,
So
sir.
it is with you how you are going to create impact in the interview. Because you do not know who is going to take your interview, you do not know who is going to ask question from what topic on what basis. In short, there is no syllabus for your FICO interview. When I say there is no syllabus, there is no standard question that I ask. It is my choice, I can ask anything. But make sure you are able to answer to my questions, that's it. Whether it is right, whether it is wrong is secondary. First give me answer whatever you know according to your understanding only. If you talk openly, if you talk frankly, you have not worked on any topic, then why we will bring a topic that I did not work on this? To be honest, did we work on any topic? You treat every topic in the same way. Know at high level first. You are able to talk on a particular topic, that is your first target. Whether you are able to configure it or not is always a secondary. Keep this point in your mind. Keep this point in your mind. On any topic, make sure you are able to talk first. If you want to clear your interview, first make sure you are able to talk about a topic, whether it is a small topic, whether it is a big topic, whether it is from FI, whether it is from CO. Whether you know about the config, whether you do not know about the config is all immaterial. I do not check whether you really know this or you do not know about it. I am not going to check whether you really practiced or not. I do not check whether you really worked or not. I am blindly going ahead with your explanation. This is the only one point I am going to select or I am going to reject you. Am I correct? Agree with me?
Yes, sir. We have to be convinced to whatever they are asked.
Right. I only go ahead with your explanation, your answers. Make sure you are explaining in a convenient, confident way. considering that the point that you talk is going to convince the other person. For that, it is actually very simple. But before we come to that level of a discussion, first we need to know what is what, not from the config point of view, beyond that. Like you saw the assessment cycle, distribution cycle now. But initially, I agree, you all will have confusion. Initially, you all will have confusion that what we are doing, why we are doing all this. But slowly, you will start developing the understanding. When I say you will start developing understanding, you will slowly, if you look at the same Excel sheet that we have listed, you will be able to connect without SAP.
We can.
If I show only the Excel sheet, if I show only the assessment cycle, or if I show, for example, only distribution cycle, by looking at this, you are able to figure out something on your mind or not,
We can figure it out.
Yes, sir.
right? Why we have written this, why we put this percentages, how did we calculate these numbers, how these are coming, everything if you are able to figure out, you can speak confidently in your interview. If you are not able to figure out from this Excel sheet numbers, 100% I will tell you, you will not be able to talk in your interview. I'll tell you at 100% confidence level, I will write and then sign. As
Yes,
long
correct.
as you are dependent on the configuration document, as long as you are dependent on the material, you will not be able to understand anything conceptually. You may be able to by heart things, you may be able to know the things at high level, but that is not required, that is not sufficient, that is not going to help you in your interview, point number one. Even if that helps you to the extent of your interview, when you are in the project, nothing will help you. Again, you are back to square, back to zero. Am I correct? Those who are working will have to answer for this question. Correct? Huh?
Yes.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Your configuration documents, the notes, materials, are they going to help you in your interview? They will not help you,
No, sir.
because
No, sir.
the same configuration
No.
documents, the same materials you will find in your project also. If I'm working, let's say for Deloitte, in Deloitte there are 100 configuration documents. Deloitte would have done thousands of projects so far. In every project they would have done the configuration. Correct? Huh? You will get 1000 configuration documents, you will get 1000 user manuals. Similar, whatever you get on the Google, the similar thing is there in any company. But why you are doing, on what basis you have done like this, why you took this case, why you took this example, what issues have come, this is what you have to do. I will also give you a document when you join my project. Look at this document, please configure, talk to the user, understand the requirement, do it. I am only going to tell you one statement when you're in any project. Please talk to the business, talk to the user, talk to the client, understand the requirement, map it in the system. Correct? Huh?
Yes, sir.
This understanding the requirement is only the challenge for a FICO consultant. If you are able to understand the requirement, you can do anything on your own without anyone's support. If you are unable to understand the requirement, nobody can help you, including me. I also cannot help you. Though I taught you SAP FICO, I also cannot help you if I do not know the requirement. Correct? Huh? I can answer only when you ask me a crystal clear question. This is the requirement. This is what my client wants to do. It's all about cross questioning only. When you're in a FICO, when you're in a project, it's all about cross questioning. Initially, depending on the company, depending on the profile, you may not come to this kind of work environment. Sometimes what will happen, you may be taken as a junior consultant. The discussions with the client users may be taken up by the senior consultants. Some consultants will share the knowledge in your project. Some consultants will not share the knowledge in your project. Let's say they may not tell what they have discussed with the users, with the clients, why they are asking you to do this. They will only simply tell you, please check this, create this document, do this configuration, follow this document. You are doing whatever the other person is telling. You are not having any direct interaction with the users or with the client. So in these kind of situations, majority of the work environment is currently in the market, which means practically once you are in a project, you do not have to worry about it. According to the current market, you do not have to worry about your work when you are a FICO consultant, because the kind of work, the style of work is more simplified. You get different options. You don't have to worry about it, but all the things that you need to focus on is whether if a situation comes where you have nobody, you are sitting with the client, you have to solve it. Keep only this point in your mind, whether you are able to work on that kind of environment or not. That is the only tricky part. Your focus should be on that tricky part alone. Rest and all, easily you can manage. Wherever you can manage easily, I will not be talking about them. Whatever is easy, whatever is simple, I will not talk about it. Whatever is complex, whatever is a tricky situation, whatever is a little, what you say, confusing part, wherever you might get scared in the real time, only those points I will be talking about. The other points I will not talk. If something is easy, I'm not going to tell that this is very easy. Easy things you can learn on your own. I have that confidence. You also have that confidence. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Correct? If something is easy that you can learn, that you know on your own. So that confidence you will have to realize, that you will realize at a later point of time, why we are only talking about negative things, or why we are only talking about things that are very complex. So why we are taking long discussions for every topic, you will be realizing the purpose, logic, reason behind all this later on, not now. So these things you will come to know based on realization, because I will not tell you why I am telling all these things, right? I'll not tell you why I'm telling all these things, but I want everybody to do all these things. But any doubts, any confusions you have, you are always free to ask. Clear? Any questions?
Uh, Sir, how to prepare that cost center, profit center user manual?
User manuals, I'll take a separate session for all the things. Commonly, I will explain how you are going to prepare documentations. I'll tell you how config document is prepared, how user manual is prepared, how test scripts are prepared.
Okay, sir. In my client, they are asking to prepare user cost center and profit center. Some basics example can you tell?
It depends on what exactly is your requirement, what they want you to prepare.
Like normally, sir, how to create and how to take reports.
So for that, you have to, this is an end user manual, is it? Based on that, your
Yes,
user
sir.
will be
Individual
creating cost
purpose. Yeah.
center. Based on your document, your user will be able to pull the report. For this, you have to open all the easy access screens or Fiori screens. If you are working on HANA, majorly we will be working on Fiori only. Your user manual will be based on Fiori screen. You have to open Fiori screen, take the screenshot of it, and then go to paint, put that on the paint, highlight all the fields that your user will have to input the data.
Okay. Like we have to prepare like cost element, cost group, and cost center. There onwards, sir. Directly we can, I can go create profit center.
Everything is separate, not a common document. Creation of cost center is a separate manual. You will go to MS Word, you will prepare creation of a cost center. You will take a KS01 screenshot. First, you will put cost center code valid from valid to date, take that screenshot, highlight cost center, highlight from date, highlight to date. Okay, and then below you put input 10-digit cost center code, below you put input valid from date, below you put input valid to date, and then put an arrow mark, select master data, then put click on master data. When you're preparing user manual, you should not type right press enter. That way you should not write, because on the cost center screen you have something called master data.
Master data. Yes, sir.
You have to select this screenshot. You need to highlight this, not this, not this one. You need to highlight this, this one, this one, this one, and this one. 4 things. After this, you need to highlight this one. Like this screenshot alone you have to take and put below click on master data, not like press enter on the keyboard. Normally by pressing enter also you can go inside, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you should not write press enter. You should put that screenshot, this image you have to copy and paste, right? Click on master data. Inside that again you highlight whatever the fields that are used in your project. Not every field is used by every company in the organization in real time. If they are not using, let's say, some of the fields, you don't highlight them. Highlight the fields which are relevant for your client business process. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so this we will prepare some sample test scenarios, some sample config document, user manual. There you will understand how exactly you need to create. First you need to create in the Word document, and then you need to convert Word document into PDF. Your user manual is always shared in the PDF format, not in Word document format. Clear?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Alright, let me stop this recording.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you explain some interview question so that we gain some knowledge from you, because our explanation and your explanation is too different, so that we gain some knowledge from you, sir.
Those discussions I will start once we complete major topics in 9 o'clock. After that, I'll be revising all these topics only from the interview point of view only. I'll not be opening any SAP screens. Only in the Excel sheet, I'll write different points, different questions.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, all the topics that we are covering at 9 o'clock are revised based on each topic without SAP screen, only on the Excel sheet, only from the interview point of view.
Okay, sir. Thank
So
you so
talking
much.
about assessment distribution, I will be writing different questions from assessment distribution cycle, but I will not open SAP screen. I will not log into SAP at all. Only on the Excel sheet we will write, we will understand different points related to each topic. Clear?
Thank you, sir.
So one more question on the assessment and distribution cycle. So this is majorly related to the reclass of the cost centers. So this type of cost center, it may be in 2 categories. One, normally the business will post the values, the amount in particular cost center. From there, they will be distributing to the other cost center, like what you have explained in this sessions. So in second category, the values will be wrongly posted to the particular cost center by the end user. So in this way, in real time, this process we will be getting regularly, or is there any criteria?
In the other
for
way,
getting
this process is not used. Let's say if a user has posted wrong amount in the wrong cost center, for that you have another option called manual reclassification or manual reposting of the cost.
Okay.
For that we will not use assessment distribution. That's a manual reposting.
Okay.
Okay,
So
that's different. That's again another entry they have to pass within controlling. It will ask them to select the cost element, select the wrong old cost center, select the new cost center. It will move from old cost center to new cost center with a single simple JV.
So that we have separate T code that will be processed.
Yeah, that is separate. That's a simple one. There is no config, nothing required for it.
Okay.
Like that, there
So
are
in
small lot of processes where there is no configuration requirement. So those things I'm not talking about now. Those things I'll explain at the end, because that does not require any config.
Okay.
Sir?
So in real time, we'll be having the standard receiver and center cost center for all the particular department which we need to transfer, right? In initial stage itself, this will be set up by the client for our configuration.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
In the initial requirement stage itself, all these are finalized and the org structure is prepared.
Okay, sir. So any update on the particular cost center, that we will be, the ticket will be coming to us. We will be changing that one, the combination,
Correct.
receiver and
Yes.
center. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Oh. Okay. All right
Sir,
then.
are
So
we?
tomorrow, go ahead.
Sir,
Go ahead.
one small query, sir. Sir, are we done with
Yes.
asset accounting, or we again start some
No, we
topics
are
on
not
asset
done with the
accounting?
asset accounting. We are not done with the asset accounting. We have seen only till the asset acquisition,
Yes, sir.
because I want everybody to post until asset acquisition. And in the morning, we are yet to create customer postings. Once we post customer postings in the morning session, I will be talking about different other scenarios in asset accounting, like asset procurement we have done, in short asset purchase we did. I will be talking about asset sale, and then after that I will be talking about different other scenarios like transferring of asset, retirement of asset, scrapping of asset, increasing the value of asset, decreasing the value of asset, intercompany transfers, all these things. Whatever is left in the asset accounting is only transaction posting.
Sir, can you in that also include the legacy data upload also for the asset?
Yes, all these things we will execute properly in the upcoming sessions, because if I tell in one go, because I've noticed most of them have not practiced,
Okay.
and when I do it again, I'll be revising once again, in short maybe in half an hour or so, whatever the config we have done. And then I'll straight away get into these different scenarios, so that it will be kind of a revision for you.
Right, sir.
And in the morning, when we do asset accounting, we'll go in the sequence. All these things I'll be executing in sequence in the morning session, 7:30.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay then. So we'll connect tomorrow morning at the same time, 7:30.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Good night,
sir.
sir.
Thanks.
Good
Sir.
night,
Okay
sir.
then. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night, sir.